Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Live Beyond Average podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Miller, owner of Run to Gun, and today I am just sitting down alone and going to record a few thoughts. I've been hit mainly on a question that I've been hit with several times, oddly enough, in the past month to 2 months, and I've had this question a lot over the last several years, but it feels like it's really become really prominent over the last month or two. So that main question that I've been receiving in my inbox and that I've had in conversation with people has been, dude, how do you, literally dude, how do you get to go hunting so much? Or how does, another variation of that question is, how does your wife let you go hunting that much? Or how do you get away from the family to be able to go out and go hunting so much? So any of those variations of questions on that line of how in the fall I'm escaping to get out into the outdoors as frequently and as often as I do. And to me, those answers are very simple. I get there's a lot of variables that run into this for a lot of guys, but we're going to cover some of those, and we're going to cover that there is some workarounds in this that can help you get out and go hunt more. Because I know that the variables in this can really hang you up, and they're real variables. I know they're not just make-believe, and I'm not ignorant enough to think that there's something that you can just go change in a whim, and I'm not ignorant enough to think that I'm not lucky in what I do, but I have made a lot of choices that have enabled me to do what I do today. It wasn't that it was just this way. I had to make choices, make sacrifices to be able to accomplish the amount of time I get to spend out in the field for certain times of the year. So one of the biggest things you hear guys talk about, and they talk to me about, is the wife doesn't like me being gone that much in the fall or being gone hunting. And so let's cover some things about that. You hear. Honestly, one of the things that bothers me the most probably is the term happy wife, happy life. I get that. Yes, you need to be serving your wife and you need to be keeping her happy. But it should be, in my opinion, that term should be happy spouse, happy house, right? Because both parties, it is a marriage, and my wife is really good at getting after me about this in a good way, is that a marriage is two people. Not one person can fix everything. Not one person can manage the whole thing. So it's not just a happy wife, it's a happy spouse, which means spouse is both ends, right? Spouse is your wife, spouse is your husband. So both sides have to stay happy to have a happy house. And so husbands, by understanding and realizing your wife's passions, your wife's needs, what she's excited about doing during the year, need to be talked about, need to be emphasized. And from the flip side, wives, you have to understand your husband's passions and where he gains his energy from and what's important to him. And so by bringing those things all out and supporting each other on them, men or women, you might find yourself being able to go on some more weekend hunting trips throughout the year, because if your spouse understands what fuels you and what gets you excited and what you want, what you really enjoy doing, those things they're going to help emphasize and prioritize for you because they know that's what you love to do. So for me especially, the outdoors fuels me. So during the small window during the year, I do travel a little bit more and I do hunt a little bit more and I'm out in the field. It's a small window, right? Hunting seasons are only so large. They're only so long. But that time away during that time of the year really fuels me, and I'm better when I'm home because I was gone. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that old saying, distance makes the heart grow fonder, right? So that is what gives me a lot of energy, because it's my biggest passion, is being out in the outdoors hunting. So my wife understands that, is that when I'm gone, I'm better for the rest of the year. But here's the thing, guys. Let's reverse engineer this a little bit and figure out how you're able to actually be gone, right? And I've had this conversation with a guy recently, is so the guys look at how much I'm gone, but I don't know if they necessarily understand that that's literally all I'm gone for the year. So I'm not doing a bunch of other things throughout the year. And this is where this might help you out a lot to get yourself out in the field a lot more. If you truly think you want to hunt and you want to hunt more, I think this is going to be a big one for you to get out in the field a lot more. So if you can activate this one, it's going to work. So I think the lack of understanding is that they're thinking about all the things they do in their life when this question gets brought up, and then they try to add hunting on top of that, and they think there's no way I can add hunting into all these other things I do. And I don't think they understand is that I get to go out, so they're comparing what they do to comparing what I do, and you can't really compare the two, because I go out and I go hunting, but that's all I'm gone during the year. I don't, and I explain this, I don't have a bunch of other hobbies. I don't go skiing, go snowboarding in the winter. That's going to cost more money, right? Expensive hobby. You're gone. You have to travel to a resort or to the mountains to ski and do that. This is all fine if this is what you love to do, but if the goal is to get out hunting more, you're going to have to start cutting some things out. So I don't do those things. I don't go snowboarding and skiing, right? In the summertime, I'm not a lake guy. I don't spend every weekend or every other weekend at the lake, right? Which means I don't own a boat and I don't own a jet ski. So I'm not spending money on fuel for those. I'm not spending money on driving to the lake or to the river every weekend, right? Those things really add up. If you look at your bank statement at the end of the summer and you add up what you spent on that, I guarantee you can spend half of that and go hunting quite a bit more. It's an expensive thing, right? It's an expensive hobby. It doesn't mean you shouldn't go to the lake or to the river with your family. Doesn't mean that. I take my kids to the lake. We have a lake that's 10 minutes down the road, and I buy a year pass from South Dakota Game Fish and Parks to go in there. It costs me $30 or something like that. I can't remember how much it is. It's not much. And I can go there whenever I want. It doesn't cost me really anything, right? So I don't have all the big fancy stuff, but my kids don't care. We have a lot of fun. So I don't golf in the summer, right? So golfing, time consuming. So we're looking at the first two kind of monetary. There's some time there too, but I think what the spouse really is thinking about too is the amount of time you're gone, right? So time is a big factor. So things like golf that take up a lot of time. If you're golfing several times a week out in the summer, every day after work you're going out and golfing the back nine or an 18 on the weekend. Guys, you know how much time golf takes. It is not a time cheap sport, right? It is a time expensive sport. It takes a lot of time. I don't have a lot of buddies that I go hang out with on the weekends. Go out to the bar and have some drinks. You know, I'm lucky that the close friends I do have understand that with me. Doesn't mean we don't go out for supper occasionally. It's not very often. And our time spent together with my buddies usually is, they love supporting Run Two Gun. They love supporting the podcast. They jump on. They're my co-hosts. Of the show. They jump on. You've heard Dustin speaking here. You've heard Devin speaking here. Those guys, some of my closer buddies. Our time spent is usually recording podcasts, or we're out hunting or scouting together. So more of our time spent is that way, and via just texting each other, Snapchat each other, being dudes. So we're not out spending money at the bars, and we're not out spending that time expenditure away from our families. So you're getting the hint of this. I don't need to continue giving you a boatload of examples, but this enables you to really reflect back on what you're doing throughout the year and think, okay, like, what things am I doing that are time expensive and financially expensive? How do I cut some of those out? Sit down with my spouse, and how can I cut some of those out and make it known, like, hey, I really want to sacrifice these things that I enjoy doing, but they're not that passionate to me. I just enjoy doing them because they're fun. I enjoy doing them, but I really want to hunt more. So I want to sit down with you and talk to you about, I'm going to cut these things out, for the most part, and I want to allocate that time and that expenditure taken from there, and I want to put it towards a little bit of hunting. So in the fall, it might feel like I'm gone a lot, right? September through December. It might feel like I'm gone a lot, honey, but I wasn't gone at all for the other 9 months. And that's what I try to explain to guys is that even though it makes it look when you're following my social medias that it may look like I'm gone a lot during this 3-month time span, I'm gone quite a bit, but I'm not gone at all the other 8 months, 9 months during the year. I'm literally spending a majority of my time with my family. Whenever I go anywhere, we're all together, besides work. And so realizing that, I think, will help you be able to get out in the field a little bit more and allocate your time away instead of spread throughout the whole year, boom, into your hunting season if you're truly wanting to hunt more. Everybody says they love to hunt, but I really think that most guys love the idea of hunting more than actually being out hunting. Because I get the messages too, like, dude, I don't know how you get away to go elk hunting over the weekend. I live on one side of the state, the elk hunting's on the other side of the state. It's a 7-hour drive, and you're only going to be gone for I only get to hunt for 48 hours. I don't know how we're going to make this happen. So think about that for a second. Like, hey, it's the same for me too. I can't fly over there, private plane. I'm driving. So get less sleep. Take off Friday after work. You're going to, you can get in, you can have supper with the family right after work, take off. You might have to drive 7 hours. You might not get until 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. That's okay. Hunt Saturday, hunt Sunday, get back Sunday night at midnight, 1 o'clock. You're going to be a little tired at work on Monday and Tuesday. But if that's your passion and that's what you want to do a little bit more of, it's okay. It's only for several weeks or a month or two out of the year, right? Prepare yourself for those things if that's what you say you truly want to do. Otherwise, sit back and reflect on, do I really love hunting, or do I like the idea of hunting? Because if you like the idea of hunting but you're thinking that you love hunting and you're stressing out about how I want to get out more, you're putting a stress on yourself that isn't needed at all. That's when you need to reflect back and be like, no, I'm fine with that 1 weekend, 2 weekends a year where I go out pheasant hunting on the opener, I hit up the deer opener, those 2 weekends, and I'm actually fine with that. I don't feel like I'm fine with that at first because I'm comparing to others on social media when really that's what you're cool with. So just be self-aware with those things and really figure that out. It's going to help you out and it's going to take some stressors out of your life, okay? So sacrifice some sleep during those months. I'm tired right now. It's the middle of the hunting season. Always tired. I get to December and I'm pretty burnt out, pretty tired. But I know that it's a limited amount of time to get done and to enjoy what I think about a lot during the time of the year that I'm not doing it. And so it's actually putting my thoughts into action and enjoying what I do. So when you're looking, at me or at somebody else that hunts a lot or that you think has it really lucky, yes, they do have it lucky, but it's not without sacrifice. That's the biggest thing that I want to bring up here. You know what I mean? I enjoy swinging a golf club as much as anybody. You know what I mean? I could go out and golf, choose not to. There are a lot of hobbies I'd love to pick up that are pretty expensive that I'm not going to do. So moving on to another point. So another thing that's brought up is, the cost of hunting, the actual financial cost we talked about, time cost and financial cost. Now, obviously, you can gain a lot of time costs back by cutting out some other things, right? Spending more time with the family on other times of the year. But how are you gaining that financial cost to be able to do this? So by cutting out, obviously, the other time costs and other hobbies that are costing you money, you're gaining money back from that. But the other thing I see a lot of guys that complain to me about being able to hunt and the expense of it are only working 40-hour week jobs, which is totally fine. If that's what you can get away with, perfect. Minimize that if you can, right? But one thing that I've always had to do that I want guys to understand that don't necessarily know me, but they're seeing this and messaging me, is that I have multiple things that I do to generate revenue. I mean, many different angles. Okay, so I'm not just working, I used to work a 40-hour week job, 50-hour week job, sometimes 60, plus I was doing run to gun on the side. Okay, plus I'd go back and work for my dad in the summer. So there's all these different angles. I had to do that in order to get to the point of taking run to gun full time by myself. I finally got to do that after 7 seasons, whatever it was. It was after 6.5, 7 seasons. So a lot of years of working like 80, 90-hour weeks to get to that point. So, but I still, to this day, it's not like 40 hours a week to make this work. This summer I drew a Nevada elk tag and a Nevada antelope tag. Was not expecting to draw. This is a great example for you guys. Nevada non-resident tags are really expensive. $1,200 for the elk tag, $300 for the antelope tag. I put in for trophy units because I wasn't expecting to draw, so I always swing for the fences on my applications. It's smarter than just buying a preference point. You'll never draw early or win the lotto if you don't pick out lottery numbers. It's like buying a lottery ticket without putting down any numbers. So you always swing for the fences, and occasionally this happens like this where you get really lucky and you draw 20 years early. And so, but overnight I had $1,500 put on my credit card, right? So I had to make up for that. It wasn't like I just wasn't going to pull $1,500 out of my savings to pay for this. You know what I mean? Like I could do that, not going to. So what do? I got to figure something out, right? So I drive back 3 hours to my dad's place. I'm lucky that my dad owns a hotel, and I can work some hours on the weekends for him. So I go back, I do some mowing, I do some maintenance work, I clean the drive, trim trees, I do this kind of stuff, do some staining on the hotel because it's a wood, it has a bunch of pine siding, stuff like that. That isn't that difficult, not that fun, but it's not that difficult. Easy for me to take the family back with me. It's where we're from. We go back, we hang out, kids get to hang out with grandparents, and I work. Put in some extra hours, and I make that $1,500 back, right? Another thing I've done, I've gone through my basement, I've gone through my garage, and I've picked out literally everything, gone through my closet that I do not use, I do not want, and I put it on Facebook Marketplace, I put it on eBay, and I sell it all. Summer before last, I made $2,500 in a month doing that. Covered a lot of my expense going into the hunting season, right? So things like that. How are you gaining back financial money that is less? It becomes less of an argument, right, between spouses. If you're not blowing a bunch of the money that you guys have allocated, that you have budgeted to other things. So you have to find ways outside of your norm to make things happen. And we've talked about multiple ways so far during the podcast on how you can make that happen. Giving you more ammo for your gun, more tools for your toolbox right now, for you to be able to hunt more if you truly say you want to go hunt more, right? You got to do more than 40 hours a week, and I think you guys know that. Anything in life, like if you're stopping at 40, probably not getting it done. So side gigs, sell some stuff, whatever you gotta do. $1,000, $100 a month for the course of, you don't have to make a ton of money all at once, but if you do it for the course of the year and you pull in an extra $100 a month, that's not a lot of extra hours. You got $1,200 for your year. That's an extended weekend hunting trip, and that's if you're blowing money fast. You know what I mean? Like, you can do things very frugally and get out more, but you gotta be smart. You know what I mean? So another area for you to work on. I really think this stuff's valuable. It's worked for me. This is my 8th season of Run to on TV. And these things have really worked well for me. I've had to learn them over the years just like anybody else. But I'm trying to give you guys some value into getting out and hunting more. And my last statement for sure on this is just go. After you've done all this stuff, you just have to go. Just go. Quit debating it. Quit worrying about stuff. Get out there and go. You guys, like, you have to go have fun. You have to go feed your passions. You have to go experience an adventure. Those things enrich your life. You have to go through some challenge, right? It can't always be easy. But I think if you work on these things, like give yourself 12 months this year. We're in the middle of hunting season, so you basically have a year, a little less than really. But you got to start now. Start making that extra $100 a month. Start pulling away from those things that are taking away time away from the family that you can give to the family right now. Stop doing those things that are taking extra money and taking financials away from the family that you can save up for next year. Start doing those things now. They'll all add up. Time will add up. Money will add up. Resources will add up. Support from the spouse will add up for you for the following year to get out in the field a little bit more, which is going to in turn give you a lot of energy. It's going to feed your life. It's going to build some momentum. And I think you're really going to be surprised about the sacrifice you're making, how much more that's going to feed your life later on, propel you in so many more areas of your life, not just getting out in the field for more hunts, but really motivate you to feel what you truly can accomplish in life when you're sacrificing for something you really want. So there's the podcast today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you'll share this with somebody else if you feel like it can benefit them. I feel like this one brings a lot of value to the table, real life experience and real life examples on how this can help you. So enjoy and have a great rest of your week.